Hey guys, tonight we are stepping into a world that smelled like pressed powder, tasted like waxy lipstick, and looked like a carefully curated dream of feminine perfection. We are talking about what was really inside a 1950s American woman's makeup bag, the creams, the colors, the tiny compacts that promised transformation, and the quiet rituals that happened every morning before the world got to see her face. Before we dive in, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy these strange little trips back in time where nostalgia and reality hold hands in the glow of a vanity mirror. And thank you, truly, to the person who suggested this topic. Your ideas shape this channel in ways I cannot fully express, and I am deeply grateful. Drop a comment telling me where you are listening from and what your grandmother kept in her makeup bag if you know. I would love to hear those stories. And by the way, we are now live on Spotify, so if you want to listen there, the link is in the description. No pressure, just an option if that is your thing. Now dim the lights, switch on a fan for that soft white noise, wiggle down under your blanket and get comfortable. Really comfortable. Like you are settling in for the night and have no plans to move until sunrise. Because tonight we are exploring a time when makeup was not about self-expression or bold experimentation. It was about conformity, about looking polished, about presenting a version of yourself that matched what magazines and mothers and society quietly demanded. A time when every woman carried the same few products, applied them the same careful way, and hoped the result looked effortless even though it never was. Have you ever wondered what it actually felt like to sit at a vanity in 1955, carefully painting on the face you would wear all day? What did those compacts smell like when you opened them? How heavy was the powder? How did the lipstick feel going on, waxy and precise and slightly medicinal? Did women enjoy the ritual, or was it just another chore, another expectation, another box to check before leaving the house? And what did it mean to carry the same red lipstick as your mother, your neighbor, your co-worker, all of you wearing identical shades of obedience and grace? And more importantly, could you survive a single day with a 1950s makeup routine? Could you handle the thick foundations, the drawn-on eyebrows, the lips so precisely painted they looked architectural? Could you sit still long enough to pin-curl your hair, powder your nose 3 times before noon, and reapply your lipstick after every meal like it was a moral obligation? Well, congratulations! You have just woken up in 1954. Your vanity is waiting. Your compact is polished. Your lipstick tube gleams in the morning light. And today, like every day, you will paint on the face the world expects to see. Let us start with where the magic happened, or at least where the careful maintenance happened. Your vanity table sits in the corner of your bedroom, a piece of furniture that is equal parts altar and workstation. It is not large, but it is yours, a small territory in a house full of other people's needs. The wood is polished, smooth under your fingertips when you sit down each morning. The mirror is framed simply, no ornate carvings or gold leaf, just clean lines and functional beauty. It catches the light from your bedroom window, that soft morning glow that makes everything look kinder than it will at noon. The stool beneath you has a cushioned seat, fabric worn thin in the center from years of sitting in the same spot, performing the same ritual. On the surface of the vanity, everything has its place. Your compact sits to the left. Your lipstick tubes stand in a small ceramic holder. Your cotton balls rest in a glass jar with a lid. There is order here, a kind of calm geometry that feels comforting in a world that often feels chaotic. You reach for each item without looking, your hand knowing exactly where to land. The drawer slides open with a soft wooden whisper. Inside are the backups, the extras, the things you are saving for special occasions or simply cannot bear to throw away. An old lipstick shade you no longer wear but remember fondly. A compact your mother gave you. A hand mirror with a crack along one edge that you keep meaning to replace but never do. This vanity is not just furniture. It is the stage where you prepare to meet the world, where you transform from the private self who wakes up tired and uncertain into the public self who must look put together, pleasant, ready. It is where you sit in your robe, hair still pinned from sleep, face bare and vulnerable, and slowly, carefully, build the armor of acceptability. The light here is important. You have learned which time of morning offers the best illumination, when the sun hits the mirror at just the right angle to show you what you really look like without being cruel about it. Too early and the light is harsh, unforgiving. Too late and it softens everything into a lie that will betray you the moment you step outside. You keep a small dish on the corner of the vanity for your rings, the ones you remove before applying cream or powder. They sit there, glinting quietly, waiting for you to finish. Beside them, a hairbrush with a tortoiseshell handle, a few bobby pins scattered like tiny fallen soldiers, and a bottle of perfume you dab on only after everything else is complete. This is your space. Your husband does not sit here. Your children do not touch these things, or at least they are not supposed to, though sometimes you find tiny fingerprints on the mirror. This vanity holds your tools, your rituals, your quiet moments before the day demands you become someone else's wife, someone else's mother, someone else's version of feminine and appropriate. And so, each morning, you sit, you arrange yourself on the stool, you take a breath, and you begin the work of becoming presentable, one careful stroke at a time. The compact in your hand is solid, weighty, more substantial than anything modern. You flip it open with a soft click, and the powder inside sits smooth and untouched, waiting. It smells faintly floral, faintly chemical, faintly like every other woman's compact in America. The metal casing is cool against your palm, slightly dented on one corner from the time you dropped it on the bathroom tile, but it still closes with a satisfying snap, still feels expensive even though it cost less than $1 at the drugstore. The mirror inside the lid is small, just large enough to check your nose, your chin, the places that tend to shine by mid-morning. You press the powder puff into the compact, swirling it gently to pick up just enough powder. Too much, and you will look chalky, ghostly, like you have been dusted for fingerprints. Too little, and the shine will break through within an hour, betraying you under fluorescent lights or in the unforgiving glare of afternoon sun. The puff itself is soft, almost silky, though it has yellowed slightly from use. You dab it across your forehead, down your nose, across your cheeks, patting gently rather than rubbing. Rubbing disturbs the foundation beneath, and foundation in the 1950s does not forgive disruption. It sits on your skin like a mask, and once it is set, it is set. The powder mattifies everything, erasing the natural oils that would otherwise make you look human. Shine is the enemy. Shine suggests sweat, effort, imperfection. Women in advertisements do not shine. Women in magazines do not glow with exertion. They are matte, smooth, poreless, and so you powder until you match that impossible standard. You tilt your face slightly, checking the light. The powder has settled into the fine lines around your eyes, the creases beside your mouth. You take a clean brush and gently sweep away the excess, softening the effect, trying to make it look like your skin simply decided to be perfect today without any help. The compact snaps shut. You set it down on the vanity, already knowing you will pick it up again in 3 hours. Powder is not a once-and-done situation. It is a relationship, a constant maintenance, a pact you make with your face every morning that you will check in regularly, that you will not let it slip, that you will remain vigilant against the creeping shine of being alive. Your mother powdered. Her mother powdered. Every woman you know powders, carrying compacts in purses like tiny shields against the humiliation of looking too real. And so you do the same, patting and pressing and smoothing, erasing the evidence of your humanity one gentle dab at a time. Foundation in the 1950s is not something you blend. It is something you apply, deliberately, with purpose. The texture is thick, almost paste-like, and it sits on your skin rather than melting into it. You smooth it across your face with your fingertips, working quickly before it sets. The bottle is small, glass, with a label that promises a flawless complexion in a shade called natural beige, though there is nothing particularly natural about it. The color is uniform, flat, designed to cover rather than enhance. You unscrew the cap and tap a small amount onto the back of your hand, warming it slightly before you begin. Your fingertips press the foundation onto your forehead first, then your cheeks, your nose, your chin. You work in small circles, spreading it evenly, trying to avoid the hairline where it tends to catch and cake. The goal is coverage, complete coverage, a blank canvas that erases every freckle, every shadow, every sign that you might have stayed up late or worried too much, or simply existed as a real person with real skin. It does not feel good, exactly. It feels heavy, like wearing a second skin that is slightly too tight. It smells faintly medicinal, sterile, like something that belongs in a hospital rather than on your face. But this is what foundation is in 1954. Not a beauty product, but a corrective measure, something to fix the problem of your natural face. You check the mirror, turning your head side to side. The foundation has evened out your complexion, erased the redness around your nose, covered the faint darkness under your eyes. You look smoother now, more polished, but also less like yourself. Your freckles, the ones you have had since childhood, are gone. The slight flush in your cheeks, the warmth that comes from being alive, has been painted over. Some women use sponges to apply foundation, small triangular wedges that help distribute the product more evenly. You prefer your fingers, the control they give you, the way you can feel where the foundation is too thick, where it needs more blending. Your fingertips are stained beige now, and you wipe them clean on a tissue before moving on. The foundation sets quickly, forming a matte shell over your skin. It will not move, will not budge, will stay exactly where you put it until you wash it off tonight with cold cream and effort. This is the base, the groundwork, the layer upon which everything else will be built. Without it, you are too real, too flawed, too human. And so you smooth and pat and blend, covering yourself carefully, preparing to face a world that expects you to look effortless, even though nothing about this process is easy or quick or kind to your skin. The foundation is armor, uncomfortable but necessary, and you wear it the way soldiers wear uniforms, because the battle of being presentable requires it. Your eyebrows are not supposed to look natural, they are supposed to look intentional, shaped, arched, drawn on with the precision of an architect drafting blueprints. You pick up your eyebrow pencil, a slim brown stick that has been sharpened so many times it is barely 3 inches long. The tip is fine, almost needle sharp, because eyebrows in the 1950s are not bold or bushy. They are thin, elegant, dramatically arched in a way that suggests surprise or glamour or both. You have plucked your natural brows into near oblivion, following the shape that magazines insist is correct, and now you must draw them back on, hair by hair, stroke by stroke. You angle the pencil carefully, starting at the inner corner of your brow. The first stroke is light, barely there, just a suggestion of a line. You follow the natural shape, or what is left of it, moving upward toward the arch. This is where the eyebrow reaches its highest point, where it lifts your face, opens your eyes, gives you that wide-awake look that every woman is supposed to have. The pencil drags slightly across your skin, leaving behind a soft brown line that looks almost like real hair if you do it right. If you press too hard, it looks drawn on, obvious, fake. If you are too light, it disappears entirely, leaving you looking startled and incomplete. The balance is delicate, requiring a steady hand and patience you do not always have, especially on mornings when you are running late or distracted or simply tired of performing. You move to the tail of the brow, tapering it to a fine point that extends just past the outer corner of your eye. This tail is crucial. It lifts everything, elongates your face, gives you a sophistication that your natural features might not otherwise suggest. You have seen women with blunt brows, brows that end too soon, and they look unfinished, unpolished, like they gave up halfway through the process. Now the other side. This is always harder, trying to make both eyebrows match when your face is not perfectly symmetrical, when one eye sits slightly higher than the other, when your hand is less steady on your non-dominant side. You squint at the mirror, comparing, adjusting, redrawing small sections until they look close enough to identical. Your mother taught you this, sitting beside you at her own vanity when you were 16, showing you how to hold the pencil, how to build the shape gradually rather than drawing one harsh line. She told you that eyebrows frame the face, that they are more important than any other feature, that a woman with good brows can get away with almost nothing else. You take a small brush, stiff bristled, and gently blend the pencil strokes, softening the edges, making them look slightly less severe. The brows are still dramatic, still clearly drawn on, but now they have a softness to them, a suggestion that maybe, just maybe, you woke up like this. You step back slightly, assessing. The brows are high, arched, elegant. They make you look alert, polished, ready. They also make you look like every other woman in America, because there is only one acceptable eyebrow shape right now, and you are all wearing it. All of you drawing the same arch, chasing the same ideal, hoping that if you get the brows right, everything else will fall into place. Eyeshadow in your makeup bag is modest, practical, almost apologetic. The palette is small, just a few neutral shades, browns and soft greys, meant to suggest depth without calling attention. Bright colours, bold colours, dramatic colours, those are for actresses and women who want to be talked about. You open the palette carefully. The metal hinge is loose, threatening to come apart entirely if you are not gentle. Inside, 3 shades sit pressed into shallow pans, each one worn down in the centre from repeated use. The lightest shade is a soft taupe, barely darker than your skin. The medium shade is a warm brown, the colour of milky coffee. The darkest is a grey-brown that you use sparingly, only in the crease, only when you want your eyes to look more defined. You pick up a small brush, its bristles slightly frayed but still functional. The brush came with the palette, a bonus item that was supposed to make application easier, though you are not entirely sure it does. You dip the bristles into the lightest shade, tapping off the excess against the edge of the pan. The first stroke goes across your eyelid, from the inner corner to the outer, a light wash of colour that is meant to even out the skin tone, to create a base for the other shades. It is subtle, so subtle that if you stepped back from the mirror you might not see it at all, but it is there, a whisper of colour that suggests you put in effort without being obvious about it. Next, the medium brown. You place this in the crease of your eyelid, that natural fold where shadow would fall anyway. You blend it gently, back and forth, softening the edges so there is no harsh line, just a gradual deepening of colour. This shade adds dimension, makes your eyes look less flat, more awake, more three-dimensional. The darkest shade is for the outer corner only, a tiny amount pressed into the very edge of your eyelid and blended inward. This lifts your eyes, elongates them, gives them a shape that is considered more attractive than whatever shape they naturally have. You are careful here, so careful, because too much and you will look bruised, tired, like you have been crying or did not sleep. Eyeshadow in the 1950s is not about self-expression. It is not about creativity or artistry or making a statement. It is about correction, about following the rules, about enhancing your features in the one acceptable way. Bold eyeshadow, colourful eyeshadow, glittery eyeshadow, those things exist, but they are not for everyday women. They are for showgirls and pin-ups, and women whose reputations are already questionable. You blend the edges one more time, making sure there are no visible lines, no obvious transitions between shades. The goal is for your eyes to look naturally shadowed, as if you were born with perfect dimension and depth, as if you did not spend 10 minutes carefully layering browns onto your lids. You close the palette and set it down. Your eyes look softer now, more defined, more awake. They look the way eyes are supposed to look in 1954. Modest, feminine, appropriate. And that is enough. Because anything more would be too much. And too much is the one thing a respectable woman must never be. Your mascara does not come in a tube. It comes in a small tin, a hard black cake that requires water and patience. You spit delicately onto the brush, the way your mother taught you, then swirl it across the surface of the cake until it forms a thick, dark paste. The tin is small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, metal with a simple label that has mostly worn off from handling. Inside, the mascara is solid, compressed, almost like charcoal. It has been used so many times that the centre is worn into a shallow depression, the edges slightly cracked. But it still works, still coats your lashes the way it is supposed to, still turns them from pale and invisible to dark and defined. You dip the brush into the tin again, working the bristles back and forth to pick up more product. The paste is thick, sticky, clinging to the brush in dark clumps that you must distribute evenly onto your lashes. This is not a quick process. This is not something you can rush through on your way out the door. This requires time, focus, a steady hand. You lean closer to the mirror, so close your breath fogs the glass slightly. You tilt your head back, opening your eyes wide, and bring the brush up to your upper lashes. The first stroke is always the hardest, trying to coat every lash from root to tip without getting mascara on your eyelid or under your brow. The bristles drag through your lashes, separating them, darkening them, making them visible for the first time today. You blink and your lashes stick together slightly, clumping in places where the mascara is too thick. You take the brush and comb through them again, separating, smoothing, trying to achieve that spiky, defined look that every advertisement promises. Your lashes are not naturally long or thick, so the mascara does most of the work, building them up layer by layer until they look almost dramatic. The lower lashes are trickier. They are shorter, sparser, harder to reach without smudging mascara onto the delicate skin beneath your eye. You hold the brush horizontally, just barely touching the tips of your lower lashes, wiggling it back and forth to deposit color without depositing mess. One wrong move, and you will have a dark smudge that requires cold cream and starting over. You step back, blinking at your reflection. Your lashes are darker now, longer looking, more defined. They frame your eyes in a way that makes you look more awake, more polished, more finished. Without mascara, your eyes seem to disappear into your face, pale and undefined. With it, they become a feature, something worth noticing. The mascara will not last all day. By afternoon, it will start to flake tiny black specks falling onto your cheeks that you will have to brush away discreetly. By evening, it will have smudged slightly, creating faint shadows beneath your eyes that make you look tired even if you are not. But for now, for this moment, your lashes look perfect, and that is what matters. You close the tin and set the brush aside. Your eyes are almost complete. Just the eyeliner left, and then you can move on to your lips, to the final steps that will transform you from a woman getting ready into a woman who is ready. If there is one product every woman carries, it is lipstick. Not just any lipstick, red lipstick. The kind that announces you are awake, alive, and appropriately feminine. Your tube is small, metal, and slightly dented from being dropped into your purse 100 times. You twist the base and the lipstick emerges slowly, a perfect cylinder of crimson that catches the light. The color is bold, unapologetic, the kind of red that cannot be ignored or mistaken for anything natural. This is not the red of roses or berries or anything found in nature. This is manufactured confidence, packaged femininity, the color every woman is expected to wear if she wants to be taken seriously as a woman. The lipstick smells waxy, slightly perfumed, with a chemical undertone that is not quite pleasant, but not quite unpleasant either. It is the smell of cosmetics, of effort, of transformation. You have worn this scent so long it has become part of you, clinging to your coffee cups, your napkins, your husband's collar when you kiss him goodbye in the morning. You lean toward the mirror, opening your mouth slightly, stretching your lips taut. The first stroke is always the most important, defining the shape, setting the boundaries. You start at the center of your upper lip, following the natural curve of your Cupid's bow, that little dip that makes your lips look fuller, more defined. The lipstick glides on smoothly, leaving behind a thick, opaque line of color. You work outward toward the corners, keeping the line crisp, precise, not letting it bleed into the skin around your mouth. Lipstick that bleeds is sloppy, careless, the mark of a woman who does not take pride in her appearance. You have seen women with lipstick feathering into the fine lines around their mouths, and it ages them, makes them look tired and unkempt. The bottom lip is easier, fuller, requiring less precision. You swipe the lipstick across in 2 quick strokes, filling in the color. making sure there are no gaps or streaks. Then you press your lips together, blotting them gently, distributing the color evenly, making sure it will not transfer too much onto your coffee cup or your husband's cheek. You step back, assessing. Your lips are red, bright, dramatic. They are the focal point of your face now, drawing the eye, demanding attention. Without lipstick, you look washed out, tired, like you are not quite finished. With it, you look polished, complete, like a woman who has her life together even if you do not. Some days you wonder what it would be like to go without lipstick, to let your natural lip color show through, pale and soft and utterly yourself. But that is not an option, not really. A woman without lipstick is a woman who has given up, who does not care, who is sick or depressed or simply too exhausted to try. And you are not allowed to be any of those things, at least not in public, at least not where anyone can see. So you twist the lipstick back down, cap it carefully, and drop it into your purse. You will reapply it after breakfast, after lunch, after your mid-afternoon coffee, after dinner. You will reapply it so many times today that the tube will be noticeably shorter by bedtime. But that is the price of being a woman in 1954, carrying color with you everywhere you go, painting on proof that you have not forgotten who you are supposed to be. Before the lipstick goes on, the lip liner comes out. This step is not optional. Your lips must have definition, structure, a clear boundary between where your mouth ends and the rest of your face begins. You trace the outline carefully, following the natural shape but also correcting it. The lip liner pencil is thin, wooden, sharpened to a fine point that could double as a weapon if necessary. The color is slightly darker than your lipstick, a deep berry red that will create contrast, that will make your lips look fuller, more sculpted, more deliberate. You have used this pencil so many times that it is barely longer than your thumb, the wood worn smooth from gripping it every morning. You start at the center of your upper lip, at the peaks of your Cupid's bow. This is where precision matters most, where the shape of your mouth is defined, where symmetry is tested. You draw a small curve on one side, then mirror it on the other, trying to make them match even though your lips are not perfectly symmetrical, even though nature did not give you the ideal shape. The pencil drags slightly against your skin, leaving behind a clean, dark line that stands out starkly against the foundation you applied earlier. This line will be softened, blended, filled in with lipstick, but for now it looks severe, almost theatrical, like stage makeup or something a child might draw. You move to the outer corners of your upper lip, extending the line slightly beyond your natural lip line. This is a trick you learned from magazines, from watching other women, from understanding that making your lips look bigger is always the goal, that thin lips suggest meanness or coldness, or simply not being attractive enough. You are careful here, not extending too far, not creating an obvious lie, just a gentle enhancement that might pass as natural in the right light. The bottom lip is next. You trace the outer edge, following the curve, keeping the line smooth and even. Bottom lips are easier, more forgiving, less likely to betray you if your hand shakes or your attention wavers. The line connects at the corners, completing the outline, creating a shape that is ready to be filled. You press your lips together, checking the symmetry, making sure both sides match, that the peaks are even, that the corners align. They do not perfectly, but they are close enough. Close enough is often the best you can hope for when you are working with a face that refuses to be perfectly symmetrical, with lips that have their own ideas about where they should begin and end. Some women skip this step, going straight to lipstick, but their lips always look less defined, less polished, less intentional. The liner is what makes lipstick last, what keeps it from bleeding, what gives your mouth the kind of crisp, clean edges that look photogenic, that suggest you spent time on this, that you care about the details. You set the liner down and reach for your lipstick, ready to fill in the shape you have just created, ready to turn these dark outlines into something softer, more wearable, more like the lips every woman is supposed to have. Blush in the 1950s is not about glow. It is about color, deliberate and placed precisely on the apples of your cheeks. You open the compact, a round tin with a rosy powder inside that looks almost too bright, too obvious until you blend it. The compact itself is simple, utilitarian, nothing like the decorative cases that will come later. It snaps open with a soft click, revealing the powder inside, pressed smooth and solid, slightly cracked from years of use. The color is a deep pink, almost coral, warm and bright in a way that seems impossible to wear without looking clownish. But you have learned how to use it, how much to apply, where to place it, how to blend it until it looks like natural color rather than painted on enthusiasm. You pick up a brush, soft bristled and slightly worn, and swirl it across the surface of the powder. The bristles pick up color easily, too easily, and you tap the brush against the edge of the compact to knock off the excess. Too much blush is worse than no blush at all, making you look feverish or embarrassed or like you do not understand restraint. You smile at the mirror, a wide, exaggerated smile that pushes your cheeks up into round apples. This is where the blush goes, on the highest point of your cheeks, where color would naturally appear if you were cold or excited or had just come in from the wind. You press the brush against your skin and swirl gently, depositing color in small circles, building it up gradually rather than applying it all at once. The first few strokes look too bright, too concentrated, like you have pressed a stamp against your face. But you keep blending, working the color outward toward your temples, softening the edges, diffusing the pigment until it fades gradually into your foundation. The goal is to look flushed, healthy, alive, but not so obviously made up that anyone can tell you are wearing blush. You step back from the mirror, tilting your head to check the placement in different light. The blush has warmed your face, brought color back to cheeks that looked flat and lifeless under all that foundation and powder. You look less like a painted doll now, more like a person, though still a carefully constructed version of a person. Still someone who has spent significant time and effort trying to appear effortless. Some women place their blush differently, sweeping it up toward their hairline in a way that is supposed to lift the face, to create the illusion of higher cheekbones. Others apply it lower, on the actual apples of their cheeks, in a way that looks more innocent, more youthful. You have tried both techniques, experimenting in front of the mirror on days when you had extra time, but you always come back to this placement, this method, this amount of color that feels safe, appropriate, correct. The compact snaps shut, and you set it back on the vanity. Your cheeks are pink now, rosy, healthy looking. You look like someone who has just come in from a brisk walk, someone whose circulation is good, whose health is robust, whose life is filled with fresh air and vitality, even if the reality is that you spend most of your time indoors, managing a household, performing the endless tasks that keep everything running smoothly. At the end of every day, before anything else, you reach for the cold cream. It sits in a heavy glass jar on your vanity, white and thick and faintly medicinal. This is not glamorous. This is maintenance, the unglamorous truth behind the polished exterior. The jar is substantial, weighing more than you would expect, the glass thick enough to survive being knocked off the counter, which has happened more than once. The label is simple, printed in blue and white, promising to cleanse, to moisturize, to remove every trace of makeup. You unscrew the metal lid, setting it aside carefully, and the smell hits you immediately, clean and slightly chemical, with a faint floral note that is supposed to make the process more pleasant, but mostly just reminds you that this is a chore. You scoop out a generous dollop with your fingertips, the cream cold and thick, almost solid. It sits in your palm for a moment before you begin spreading it across your face, working it into your skin with circular motions, massaging it into your forehead, your cheeks, your chin. The cream melts slightly with the heat of your skin, becoming more pliable, more spreadable, and as it does, it begins to break down the layers of makeup you have been wearing all day. Your foundation, so carefully applied this morning, starts to dissolve, mixing with the cream until your face is covered in a beige-tinted mess. The powder that kept you matte all day lifts away. The blush that gave you color fades into nothing. The eyeshadow that defined your eyes smears into muddy streaks. You watch in the mirror as the polished version of yourself disappears, revealing the tired, real person underneath. You keep massaging, working the cream into every corner of your face, around your nose, along your jawline, up into your hairline where foundation always seems to hide. The process is thorough, almost aggressive, because any makeup left behind will clog your pores, will cause breakouts, will make your skin worse over time. Your mother warned you about this, about the importance of removing every trace before bed, about never, ever sleeping in your makeup no matter how tired you are. You reach for a washcloth, soft cotton that has been folded neatly beside the sink. You dampen it with warm water, wringing out the excess, and begin wiping away the cream and makeup in long, firm strokes. The cloth comes away stained, beige and pink and brown, all the colours of your face collected on white fabric. You rinse the cloth and wipe again and again and again until the cloth finally comes away clean. Your face in the mirror looks bare now, vulnerable, stripped of all the armour you wore today. Your skin is pink from the scrubbing, slightly irritated, but clean. You can see your freckles again, the ones the foundation covered. You can see the faint shadows under your eyes, the slight redness around your nose, the texture of your skin that the powder smoothed away. This is your real face, the one no one else sees, the one that only exists in this private moment at the end of the day. You screw the lid back onto the jar of cold cream and set it back in its place. Your face feels naked, exposed, almost uncomfortably yourself. But there is also relief in this moment, in being done with the performance, in being allowed to just exist without the layers of correction and enhancement. Tomorrow morning you will start over, building the face back up, but tonight, just for now, you are simply you. Your tweezers are small, sharp, and merciless. They live in your makeup bag like a tiny instrument of correction, always ready to pluck away the stray hairs that threaten the clean arch of your brows. Tweezing is not a monthly task. It is weekly, sometimes daily. The tweezers are metal, slant-tipped, worn smooth from years of gripping them between your thumb and forefinger. They close with a precise click, the two edges meeting perfectly, capable of grasping even the finest, most stubborn hair. You have owned these tweezers since you were 17, since your mother sat you down and explained that grooming your eyebrows was not optional, that wild brows suggested a lack of discipline, a carelessness that no respectable woman could afford. You lean close to the mirror, so close your breath fogs the glass. The morning light is best for this, unforgiving and honest, showing you every hair that has grown in overnight, every stray that has wandered outside the carefully maintained shape. You grip the tweezers firmly and position them at the root of a hair, as close to the skin as possible. One quick pull and the hair comes free, bringing with it a tiny pinch of pain that makes your eyes water slightly. You do not stop. There are more hairs, always more hairs, a constant battle against nature that refuses to cooperate with the narrow, arched brows that fashion demands. You pluck another hair, then another, working methodically across your brow line, eliminating anything that falls outside the acceptable shape. Each pluck is a small act of control, a tiny correction that adds up to the difference between looking kempt and looking wild. The skin around your brows is pink now, slightly irritated from the repeated pulling. Small red dots mark where each hair was removed, a temporary condition that will fade within the hour. You have learned to do this early in the morning, before anyone else is awake, before you need to present your face to the world, giving your skin time to calm down, to look less assaulted. Some hairs are more stubborn than others, thicker, deeper rooted, refusing to come free on the first try. You grip these ones more firmly, pulling harder, and when they finally release, there is a sharp sting that radiates across your brow. You blink away the tears, because crying over tweezing would be ridiculous, and continue the work, moving to the other brow, trying to maintain symmetry, trying to make both sides match even though one brow always grows in slightly thicker, slightly darker, slightly more determined to ruin your carefully cultivated look. Your mother once told you that beauty is pain, and nowhere is that more true than in this daily battle with your own eyebrows. You have overplucked before, taken too much in your determination to achieve the perfect arch, and been left with patches of baldness that took weeks to grow back. Weeks, during which you had to draw on more eyebrow than you actually possessed. You are more careful now, more restrained, plucking only what is necessary, trying to maintain what little natural brow you have left. You set the tweezers down and step back, assessing your work. Your brows are clean now, defined, shaped into those high, dramatic arches that every magazine insists are essential. The stray hairs are gone, the wild edges tamed, the shape preserved. You look polished, controlled, like someone who pays attention to the smallest details, who understands that even the tiniest hair out of place can ruin the entire effect. The tweezers go back into your makeup bag, nestled beside your lipstick and your compact, ready for tomorrow morning when new hairs will have grown in and the whole process will begin again. This is the reality of beauty in 1954. Constant vigilance, constant correction, constant work to maintain an appearance that is supposed to look effortless. And you do it every single day because the alternative is unthinkable. The hand mirror in your bag is small, round, and slightly scratched. You use it to check your lipstick in public, to glance at your face in unflattering light, to make sure nothing has smudged or shifted. It is a tool of constant vigilance. The mirror itself is made of glass backed with silver, set into a plastic handle that was once white but has yellowed with age and handling. The handle is slightly cracked near the base, a fracture that happened when you dropped it on the sidewalk outside the grocery store last summer, but it still works, still shows you your reflection, still serves its essential purpose. You carry this mirror everywhere. It lives in your purse, wrapped in a soft cloth to protect it from keys and coins and all the other sharp objects that could scratch the surface. You pull it out several times a day, in restaurant bathrooms, in parked cars, in the powder rooms of friends' houses, anywhere you can find a moment alone to assess the state of your face. The mirror is brutally honest. Unlike the soft, flattering light of your vanity at home, the mirror shows you what you really look like in harsh fluorescent light, in bright afternoon sun, in the dim glow of evening. It shows you when your lipstick has faded, when your powder has worn off, when the careful work you did this morning has started to break down under the pressure of living. You angle it to catch different perspectives, tilting it up to check your chin, tilting it down to see your forehead, holding it at arm's length to get a sense of the overall effect. Sometimes you are pleased with what you see, the makeup still holding, your face still polished and presentable. Other times you are horrified, discovering smudges you did not know were there, shine breaking through in places you thought were safely matte, lipstick that has bled into the fine lines around your mouth. The mirror sees everything. It sees the moments when you are alone, when your face relaxes into its natural expression, when the smile you have been holding all day finally drops. It sees you at your most vulnerable, checking and rechecking, never quite satisfied, always finding something that needs correction, some small flaw that must be addressed before you can return to the world. Other women carry mirrors too. You see them in powder rooms, lined up at the counter, each one holding her own small mirror, each one checking her own face, each one engaged in the same anxious ritual of maintenance. There is a shared understanding in these moments, a silent acknowledgement that this is what being a woman requires, this constant checking, this perpetual awareness of how you look. The scratches on your mirror are small but noticeable, tiny lines that cross the surface, distorting your reflection slightly, making it harder to see clearly. You keep meaning to replace it, to buy a new one without imperfections, but you never do. This mirror has been with you for years, has seen you through countless lipstick applications, has witnessed every iteration of your face. Replacing it would feel like a betrayal, like abandoning a companion who knows all your secrets. You slip the mirror back into your purse, wrapping it carefully in its cloth, tucking it beside your compact and your emergency lipstick. It will come out again in a few hours, and you will check again, and find something that needs fixing, and fix it, and check again, and the cycle will continue until you are home, until you can finally remove your makeup and stop watching yourself, stop performing, stop being vigilant. But for now, the mirror goes back into the darkness of your purse, waiting, patient, ready to show you the truth whenever you are brave enough to look. The powder puff is soft, round, and slightly yellowed from use. It lives inside your compact, pressed against the powder like a little cloud. You dab it gently across your face, your nose, your forehead, your chin, anywhere that might dare to shine. The puff is made of some kind of fabric, velvet or velour. You have never been quite sure which, but it feels luxurious against your skin, soft and pillowy and strangely comforting. One side is pink, or was pink once, though it has faded to a dull peachy beige from absorbing so much powder, so much oil from your skin, so many applications over so many months. The other side has a small ribbon loop attached, a tiny handle that you slip your finger through to hold the puff steady while you work. You take the puff and press it into the powder, picking up a generous amount, then lift it to your face and begin patting, gentle taps that deposit a fine layer of powder over your foundation. The motion is rhythmic, almost meditative, a series of soft touches that gradually mattify your skin, that erase the faint sheen that has developed since you first applied your makeup this morning. The powder clings to the puff, creating small clouds of dust that hang in the air for a moment before settling. You can taste it slightly, that dry, chalky taste that comes from breathing in cosmetics, from spending too much time too close to your own face. Your mother always said you could taste your makeup if you were doing it right, and you never understood what she meant until you started doing this yourself, until you started spending your mornings in a fog of powder and perfume and effort. The puff needs to be washed regularly, but you do not wash it as often as you should. It takes time to wash, to rinse it clean, to squeeze out the excess water, to lay it flat to dry overnight. And there is something comforting about using a puff that is already broken in, already saturated with your own skin's oils, already molded to the shape of your face. A fresh, clean puff feels too rough, too stiff, too unfamiliar. You fold the puff in half and use the edge to get into the corners around your nose, the places where powder tends to cake if you are not careful. You tap, 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 building up layers, trying to achieve that perfect matte finish that photographs so well, that looks so polished in person, that suggests you are someone who has never sweated, never been nervous, never been anything other than perfectly composed. By midday, the powder will have settled into your pores, will have mixed with the natural oils of your skin, and will have created a texture that is neither quite powder nor quite skin, but something in between. You will need to powder again, to press the puff against your face again, to repeat this ritual in a restaurant bathroom or a department store powder room, anywhere you can find a mirror and a moment of privacy. The puff goes back into the compact, nestling against the powder, absorbing any moisture, picking up more pigment, gradually becoming more and more saturated, until one day you will look at it and realize it is time to replace it. Time to start fresh with a new puff that is still white, still pristine, still untouched by the daily work of keeping shine at bay. But that day is not today. Today, this puff is still your companion, still soft enough, still functional enough, still carrying out its essential duty of keeping you matte, keeping you polished, keeping you presentable in a world that notices every bit of unwanted shine. Your perfume does not come in a spray bottle. It comes in a delicate glass atomizer with a tiny bulb you squeeze to release a fine mist. The scent is floral, sweet, and unmistakably feminine, something like roses or gardenias mixed with powder and propriety. The atomizer is one of the most beautiful things you own, a small luxury that makes you feel elegant even on days when nothing else does. It is made of crystal, or something meant to look like crystal, cut with facets that catch the light and throw tiny rainbows across your vanity. The glass bottle is shaped like a teardrop, rounded and heavy, substantial enough that you have to hold it carefully with both hands. The bulb attached to the top is made of rubber covered in silk mesh, coloured a soft pink that matches the ribbon tied around the bottle's neck. You pick up the atomizer and give the bulb a gentle squeeze. A fine mist of perfume releases into the air, a cloud of scent that drifts for a moment before settling. You have learned exactly how much pressure to apply, how hard to squeeze to get the right amount of perfume without wasting it, without creating a cloud so thick it makes you cough. The traditional application points are precise, specific, passed down from mother to daughter like sacred knowledge. You spray the perfume at your pulse points, the places where your blood runs closest to the surface, where your body's warmth will activate the scent and carry it throughout the day. Your wrists first, holding them out and squeezing the bulb once, twice, letting the mist settle onto your skin. Then behind your ears, that tender hollow where perfume sits and wafts gently whenever you move your head. Some women spray it at the base of their throat, that soft dip between the collarbones, but you prefer to dab a tiny amount there with your fingertip instead, more controlled, less likely to stain your clothes. The scent that rises from your skin is heady, rich, almost overwhelming at first. It smells like femininity bottled and sold, like every advertisement that promises you will be more desirable, more attractive, more worthy of attention if you wear this particular fragrance. The top notes are sharp, alcoholic, almost medicinal, but they fade quickly, giving way to the heart of the perfume, those deep floral notes that smell expensive even if the perfume was not. Your mother wore perfume every day, the same scent for years until it became inseparable from her, until you could not think of her without smelling that particular combination of jasmine and musk, and something indefinable that was just her. She taught you to apply perfume after your makeup, after you were fully dressed, as the final step before leaving the house, the last layer of armor against the world. The perfume you wear now is different from your mother's, a scent you chose yourself when you turned 18, a declaration of independence that felt significant at the time. It is lighter, sweeter, more youthful, though sometimes you wonder if you chose it or if the saleswoman at the department store counter chose it for you, spraying options onto little paper strips, telling you which one suited you best, guiding you toward the scent she thought someone your age should wear. You set the atomizer back on your vanity, careful not to knock it over, not to chip the glass or damage the delicate mechanism. Perfume is not cheap, even the small bottles, and this atomizer is meant to last, meant to be refilled when empty, meant to be a permanent fixture on your dressing table, rather than something disposable. The scent lingers in the air around you, mixing with the smell of powder and hairspray and all the other products you have applied this morning. You catch whiffs of it throughout the day, when you raise your hand to brush hair from your face, when you lean forward to speak to someone, when you move through warm rooms where your body heat releases the fragrance in small waves. It is a calling card, an announcement, a way of leaving traces of yourself in rooms you have already left, on people you have embraced, in the air of spaces you have moved through. Your nails are always polished, always. Bare nails suggest neglect, carelessness, a lack of attention to detail. You keep a small bottle of red polish in your bag, the same shade as your lipstick, because matching is not optional, it is expected. The bottle is small enough to fit in your palm, glass with a black cap that screws on tightly to prevent the polish from drying out. The label has mostly worn off from being handled, but you know what colour it is. The same colour you have worn for months, the same colour every other woman seems to be wearing, a bright, glossy red that announces itself on every surface your hands touch. You unscrew the cap and the brush emerges, dripping slightly with polish, thick and viscous, and deeply pigmented. The smell hits you immediately, sharp and chemical, the scent of nail polish that makes your eyes water slightly if you breathe it in too deeply. It is a smell you have grown accustomed to, one that marks the hours you spend sitting at your kitchen table, hands spread out before you, waiting for polish to dry. Painting your nails is a ritual that requires time, patience, and complete stillness. You cannot answer the phone, cannot open a door, cannot do anything useful for at least 20 minutes while the polish dries, and even then, it is not fully hard, not fully set, vulnerable to smudging for hours afterward. You start with your left hand, since you are right-handed, painting the nails on your non-dominant hand first because it is easier, requires less coordination. You wipe the excess polish off the brush against the inside rim of the bottle, leaving just enough to coat one nail, and then you begin. The brush touches the base of your nail, just above the cuticle, and you draw it forward in a smooth, steady stroke toward the tip. One stroke down the center, then one on each side, 3 strokes to cover each nail completely. The polish is thick, opaque, covering your natural nail entirely, hiding any imperfections, any ridges or discoloration. The first coat always looks streaky, uneven, but that is expected. Nail polish requires 2 coats, sometimes 3, building up layers of color until it is perfectly smooth, perfectly glossy, perfectly red. You finish your left hand and hold it up, examining your work. The polish is wet, gleaming, catching the light. You can see small imperfections, places where the brush wobbled slightly, where polish touched your cuticle or strayed beyond the edge of your nail. You will need to clean those up later with a Q-tip dipped in remover, but for now you move on to your right hand, the harder hand, the one that requires more concentration. Painting your dominant hand with your non-dominant hand is an exercise in frustration. Your left hand is clumsy, uncertain, prone to shaking at exactly the wrong moment. The brush wobbles, the strokes are less smooth, the coverage less even. You do your best, moving slowly, carefully, trying to maintain control, trying not to get polish all over your fingers. When both hands are done, you sit very still, holding your hands out in front of you like you are surrendering, like you have been caught doing something wrong. You cannot touch anything, cannot do anything, can only sit and wait and hope that nothing happens that requires the use of your hands. The polish is drying, slowly, the wet shine gradually becoming matte, the surface hardening from the outside in. You wave your hands gently in the air, trying to speed the drying process, though you are not sure it actually helps. Some women blow on their nails, pursing their lips and breathing cool air across the polish, but you have never had much success with that method. The only thing that truly works is time, waiting, being patient, being still. By tonight, the polish will have dulled slightly, lost some of its fresh glossiness. By tomorrow, there will be a small chip on your index finger where you accidentally scraped it against something. By the end of the week, your nails will look worn, tired, in need of a fresh coat. And so you will sit down again, bottle in hand, brush in the other, and paint them again, and again, and again, maintaining the appearance of polish even as the polish itself constantly fails you. Your makeup bag contains a small stack of tissues, folded neatly, and a few blotting papers tucked into a compact. These are for emergencies, for blotting away shine, for fixing smudges, for discreetly removing lipstick before a meal. The tissues are plain, white, standard drugstore tissues that you have folded into quarters and tucked into the bottom of your bag. They are not glamorous, not special, just functional, ready to be pressed against your lips after you apply lipstick, ready to catch the excess color, ready to prevent lipstick from transferring onto your coffee cup or your husband's collar or the rim of a water glass. Blotting is an essential skill, one you learned young and have practiced countless times. After you apply lipstick, you press a tissue between your lips, gently, not rubbing, just pressing, letting the tissue absorb the extra pigment, the waxy residue that would otherwise come off on everything you touch. The tissue comes away stained red, a perfect print of your lips left behind, and you fold it quickly, discreetly, tucking it away or dropping it in a wastebasket where no one will see it. The blotting papers are different, more specialized, designed specifically for removing oil from your skin without disturbing your makeup. They come in a small booklet, thin sheets of paper that look almost like tissue, but feel different, more absorbent, slightly rough. You tear one out and press it gently against your forehead, your nose, your chin, the places where shine tends to break through first, where your skin's natural oils betray the matte perfection you worked so hard to achieve. The paper absorbs the oil immediately, becoming translucent where it touches your skin, showing you exactly how much shine you had, how close you were to looking greasy, unkempt, unprofessional. You fold the paper and press again, repeating until the paper comes away clear, until your skin is matte again, under control again, acceptable again. You use these supplies throughout the day, more often than you would like to admit. After lunch, you blot your lips, removing lipstick before you eat so it does not end up on your sandwich, on your fork, on the napkin you use to dab your mouth. After coffee, you blot again, checking for smudges, for places where the lipstick has worn away, for gaps in the color that need to be filled in. After a trip to the bathroom, you blot your face, removing shine, reapplying powder, touching up anything that has faded or smeared or simply given up under the pressure of living. The tissues accumulate throughout the day, little red-stained pieces of evidence that you are constantly maintaining, constantly correcting, constantly working to preserve an appearance that refuses to stay put. You tuck them into your purse, into trash cans, into the pockets of your coat, leaving a trail of discarded maintenance behind you wherever you go. Some women do not bother with this level of vigilance, letting their lipstick fade, letting shine appear on their faces, letting their makeup break down naturally over the course of the day. But you cannot do that, cannot allow yourself that freedom, cannot risk looking less than perfect, even for a moment. The tissues and blotting papers are your tools in this battle, simple and unglamorous, but absolutely essential. By the end of the day, your makeup bag is fuller than it was in the morning, stuffed with used tissues, crumpled blotting papers, the detritus of constant upkeep. You empty it out when you get home, tossing everything in the trash, making room for tomorrow's tissues, tomorrow's blotting papers, tomorrow's maintenance. And the cycle continues, day after day, an endless routine of application and correction, of perfection pursued and never quite achieved. Even in your makeup bag, you carry hairpins. They live in a small container, a dozen or more, ready to secure a curl that has fallen, to tame a strand that has escaped, to hold everything in place when the wind or humidity threatens your carefully styled hair. The container is round, metal, barely larger than a coin, with a snap-tight lid that keeps the pins from scattering throughout your bag. You open it carefully, and inside are bobby pins in 2 shades, black for when you need them to disappear into your dark hair, and blonde for when you want them to blend with lighter sections. The pins are small, U-shaped, with ridged sides that grip your hair tightly, almost painfully sometimes, but they work, holding styles in place through long days and longer evenings. You have carried these pins for so long you barely think about them anymore, reaching for them automatically whenever you feel a piece of hair slipping out of place. Whenever you notice in a mirror that your carefully pinned curls have begun to droop, your hair in 1954 is not something that simply exists. It is something that must be constructed, maintained, defended against gravity and weather, and the natural tendency of hair to do whatever it wants. This morning you spent an hour setting your hair, rolling sections around pin curls, securing each one with bobby pins, creating the foundation for the style you wear now. The pins held the curls in place while you slept, pressing into your scalp, making it difficult to find a comfortable position, but that discomfort was necessary, the price of waking up with hair that already had shape, structure, wave. Now, throughout the day, you use pins to repair what time and movement have undone. A curl at your temple has loosened, so you reach into your bag, pull out a bobby pin, and slide it into place, securing the curl against your head, hiding the pin beneath other hair so it is invisible, so no one knows that your hairstyle is held together with a dozen small pieces of metal. The pins are not comfortable. You can feel them against your scalp, small points of pressure that shift when you move your head, that catch on pillowcases when you lie down, that sometimes work loose and fall out at the most inconvenient moments. You've lost pins everywhere, in restaurant booths, on office floors, on sidewalks, leaving a trail of small metal evidence that your hair does not naturally hold this shape, that what looks effortless actually requires constant engineering. Other women carry pins too. You have seen them in powder rooms, standing before mirrors, inserting pins with practiced efficiency, their hands moving automatically, muscle memory taking over. There is a shared understanding, a silent acknowledgement that hair in this era is a construction project, that the smooth waves and perfect curls you all wear require infrastructure, scaffolding, support systems hidden beneath the surface. You snap the container shut and drop it back into your bag, feeling the familiar weight of it, the small reassurance that you are prepared, that you have the tools necessary to maintain yourself throughout the day. The pins will come out tonight when you remove your makeup, when you brush out your hair and let it fall naturally for a few hours before you pin it up again for sleep, starting the whole cycle over. But for now, they stay in place, holding, gripping, securing, keeping your hair exactly where it is supposed to be, keeping you looking exactly how you're supposed to look, one small pin at a time. Some women prefer cream blush, rouge that comes in a tube and is dabbed onto the cheeks with a fingertip. It is warmer than powder, more forgiving, and it blends into the skin with a soft, dewy finish that looks almost natural. The tube is small, lipstick-sized, made of metal with a twist-up mechanism that pushes the cream rouge out through a small opening at the top. The color is similar to your powder blush, a warm pink coral, but the texture is completely different, creamy and emollient, almost like a waxy balm. You twist the base, and a small amount of product emerges, just enough for one application. You dab your fingertip against the rouge, picking up a small amount, and then touch it to the apple of your cheek. The cream is soft, spreadable, melting slightly with the warmth of your skin. You blend it in small circles, working the color outward, diffusing it across your cheekbone, creating a flush that looks more like natural color than the powder blush ever does. The cream blends more easily than powder, does not sit on top of your skin but rather becomes part of it, sinking into your foundation, mixing with the oils and creams you have already applied, creating a seamless finish. There are no harsh edges, no obvious circles of color, just a gentle warming of your complexion that suggests health, vitality, youth. Some women use cream rouge exclusively, swearing it looks more natural, more sophisticated than powder. Others use both, applying cream first for color and then dusting powder over it to set it, to make it last longer, to create layers of color that will not fade by noon. You alternate depending on the day, on your mood, on how much time you have, on whether you are going somewhere that requires you to look particularly polished. The tube goes back into your bag, capped carefully to prevent the rouge from smearing onto other items, from staining the lining of your purse or transferring onto your compact. Cream products are trickier than powders, more likely to make a mess, more likely to melt in warm weather, but they also give a finish that powder cannot achieve, a dewiness that looks almost like real skin rather than makeup. You check your reflection, turning your face side to side, making sure the color is even, making sure both cheeks match, making sure you have not applied too much or too little. The rouge has warmed your face, brought it to life, made you look like someone who has just come in from a walk, whose circulation is good, whose health is robust. This is what rouge is supposed to do, create the illusion of natural color, of blood flowing beneath the surface, of a body that is young and vital and alive. Never mind that the color is painted on, that it comes from a tube, that it will wash off tonight with cold cream and reveal the paler, less vibrant face beneath. For now, for today, the rouge does its job, making you look healthy even when you are tired, making you look alive even when you feel drained, making you look like the woman you are supposed to be rather than the woman you sometimes are. Your eyebrows require tools, a small brush to blend the pencil strokes, a tiny comb to groom the hairs into place. You brush them upward, then smooth them down, shaping them into the high, elegant arches that every magazine declares essential. The brush is small, no longer than your pinky finger, with stiff bristles angled at one end. It is designed specifically for eyebrows, for working with the small scale and precise shapes required, for blending pencil without smudging it completely away. The bristles are synthetic, slightly coarse, able to grab and move the waxy pencil you have drawn on your brows, softening hard lines, diffusing color, making drawn-on eyebrows look slightly less drawn-on. You take the brush and work it through your eyebrow, following the direction of hair growth, moving from the inner corner outward toward the tail. The bristles catch on the pencil strokes, blending them together, softening the edges where individual lines are visible, creating a more cohesive color that looks less like a drawing and more like actual hair. The comb is attached to the other end of the same tool, a tiny plastic comb with fine teeth spaced closely together. You use this to groom your actual eyebrow hairs, the few that remain after years of aggressive plucking, combing them into alignment, smoothing them flat against your skin, training them to lie in the direction you want rather than the direction they naturally grow. You comb upward first, lifting the hairs, separating them, making them stand away from your skin. This reveals the shape of your brow, shows you where there are gaps, where the natural hair is too sparse, where you will need to add more pencil to fill in. Then you comb downward, smoothing everything back into place, creating a sleek line that follows the arch you have drawn, that enhances rather than fights against the shape you have created. The tools are small but essential, the difference between eyebrows that look harsh and artificial and eyebrows that look merely dramatic. You have seen women with unblended brows, hard lines of pencil sitting on top of their skin like someone drew on them with a marker, and it looks cheap, careless, like they did not know what they were doing or did not care enough to do it properly. You finish grooming your brows and set the brush down, examining your work. The brows are smooth now, the pencil blended, the hairs lying flat, everything aligned and polished. They frame your face, lift your eyes, give you an expression that reads as alert, interested, engaged, even when you are none of those things. These tools travel with you, tucked into your makeup bag for touch-ups throughout the day. Eyebrows are not set-it-and-forget-it features. They require maintenance, checking, adjusting, especially if you have been outside in wind or humidity, if you have been wearing a hat, if you have rubbed your forehead and accidentally smudged the pencil you so carefully applied this morning. The brush and comb are worn now, the bristles slightly splayed, the teeth of the comb missing in a few places where they have broken off from use. But they still work, still perform their function, still help you maintain the eyebrows that beauty demands, and that is all that matters. Tucked into a corner of your bag are a few cotton pads soaked in makeup remover, sealed in a small tin. These are for mistakes, for smudges, for the inevitable moment when your eyeliner goes slightly wrong and must be corrected immediately. The tin is flat, round, not much larger than a compact, stamped metal with a screw-top lid that keeps the pads from drying out. You open it and the sharp smell of remover rises up, chemical and slightly astringent, the scent of correction, of erasure, of starting over. Inside are 4 or 5 pads, white cotton discs soaked in remover, stacked neatly, waiting. These pads are emergency supplies, the equivalent of a first aid kit for your face. When you smudge your mascara, when your eyeliner slips, when your lipstick bleeds outside the lines you so carefully drew, these pads are what save you, what allow you to fix the mistake without removing all your makeup and starting completely over. You have used them countless times, standing in bathrooms, dabbing carefully at the smudge under your eye, at the stray bit of lipstick on your teeth, at the eyeshadow that fell onto your cheek during application. The remover works quickly, dissolving makeup on contact, lifting it away from your skin, leaving behind a clean spot that you can then reapply makeup to, that you can correct, that you can make right. The pads themselves become stained quickly, picking up color from whatever makeup you are removing, turning beige with foundation, black with mascara, red with lipstick. You fold them to find a clean section, using every bit of surface area before discarding them, before reaching for a fresh one. The tin holds only a few, so you must be strategic, must use them only when absolutely necessary, must conserve your emergency supply for true emergencies. Some mornings you use a pad before you have even left the house, fixing a mistake made at your vanity, correcting an error in application before it can be seen by anyone else. Other times you go weeks without needing them, your makeup applied perfectly, staying in place throughout the day, behaving the way it is supposed to, but you always carry them, always keep the tin filled, always make sure you are prepared for the moment when something goes wrong. Because something always goes wrong eventually. Makeup is fallible, and so are the hands that apply it, and so is the skin that wears it. The remover pads are your safety net, your backup plan, your way of maintaining control even when everything threatens to slip away. Some compacts have a tiny mirror surrounded by a ring of small bulbs, powered by a battery tucked inside. These are luxury items, not common, but if you have one, you treasure it. The light is soft, flattering, and allows you to check your makeup even in dim restaurants or evening outings. The compact is heavier than your regular one, weighted down by the battery compartment and the small electrical components that make the lights work. It is also more expensive, significantly more expensive, the kind of thing you save up for or receive as a special gift, the kind of thing you would never buy for yourself but are thrilled to own once it arrives in your hands. You open it carefully, flipping the lid to reveal the mirror inside. There is a small switch on the side, barely noticeable, tucked into the hinge. You slide it upward and the lights flicker on, a ring of tiny bulbs surrounding the mirror casting a warm glow onto your face. The light is gentle, golden, designed to make you look your best, to hide flaws and emphasize features, to be kind in the way natural light rarely is. This compact goes with you to evening events, to dinners at nice restaurants, to parties where the lighting is deliberately dim, atmospheric, romantic, but also unforgiving if you need to check your makeup. In those dark powder rooms with their single weak bulb hanging from the ceiling, in those restaurant bathrooms with lighting so poor you can barely see your own reflection, this compact becomes invaluable. You snap it open, turn on the light, and suddenly you can see, really see, what your face looks like, where your lipstick has faded, where your powder needs refreshing. The mirror itself is small, smaller than the mirror in your regular compact, because space must be made for the lights, for the battery, for all the mechanics that make this luxury possible. You have to tilt the compact at different angles to see your whole face, checking your forehead, then your cheeks, then your chin, piecing together a complete picture from these small glimpses. The battery drains slowly but inevitably, and replacing it is an ordeal, requiring a small screwdriver to open the compartment, a trip to the store to find the right size battery, which is never the size you expect, and careful reassembly to make sure the lights still work. Sometimes you forget to turn the lights off after using them, and the battery dies completely, and the compact becomes just another compact, heavier and more cumbersome than your regular one, useless until you find time to replace the battery. But when it works, when the lights glow softly around the mirror, when you can see your face clearly even in the darkest corner of the darkest restaurant, it feels like magic. Like a small piece of technology designed specifically to make your life easier, to help you maintain the appearance you work so hard to create. You check your lipstick in the lit mirror, angling your face to catch the glow. The light shows you that the color has faded at the center of your lips, that you need to reapply, that the careful work you did before leaving the house has not survived dinner. You pull out your lipstick, reapply it carefully, using the lit mirror to guide you, to make sure the color goes on evenly, that the lines are crisp, that you look presentable again. Other women notice the compact, leaning over in powder rooms to see it, to comment on how clever it is, how useful, asking where you got it, how much it cost, whether the battery lasts. There is a small sense of pride in owning something so practical yet so luxurious, something that sets you apart from women who are still squinting into regular compacts in dim lighting, struggling to see what they look like. You turn off the light and snap the compact shut, tucking it back into your purse. The battery will last a few more weeks, maybe a month if you are careful, if you remember to turn it off every time, if you use it sparingly. And when it dies, you will replace it, because this compact, this small luxury, has become something you cannot imagine living without. For special occasions, you do not apply lipstick straight from the tube. You use a brush, a small flat brush that allows you to paint your lips with precision. This takes longer, requires steadier hands, but the result is sharper, more controlled, more photogenic. The brush is small, no longer than your thumb, with a wooden handle and soft synthetic bristles cut flat across the top. It comes in a small protective case, a plastic tube that keeps the bristles from getting crushed or bent in your makeup bag, that keeps them clean and ready for use. You slide the brush out of its case and examine it, checking that the bristles are still straight, still intact, still capable of the precision work they are designed for. You twist up your lipstick, just a little, exposing enough color to work with, and press the brush against the lipstick, loading the bristles with pigment. The brush picks up the color differently than your lips do, more evenly, more thoroughly, creating a small reservoir of red at the tips of the bristles that you will use to paint on your lips. You start at the center of your upper lip, at the peaks of your Cupid's bow. The brush allows you to define these curves exactly, to create sharp, clean points that are difficult to achieve applying lipstick directly from the tube. You paint carefully, slowly, following the natural line of your lips, but also correcting it, perfecting it, making it more symmetrical than nature intended. The brush glides smoothly, leaving behind a precise line of color that is more opaque, more saturated than what you could achieve with the tube alone. You reload the brush and continue, filling in the upper lip completely, working from the center outward to the corners, keeping the edges sharp, making sure there are no gaps, no streaks, no places where the color is uneven. The lower lip is easier, larger, requiring fewer reloads, fewer strokes. You paint it quickly, efficiently, filling in the color, creating that full, perfect pout that photographs so well, that looks so polished in person, that suggests you put significant time and effort into this one feature. Using a brush takes practice, patience, a willingness to work slowly and carefully when every instinct tells you to rush, to get through this routine as quickly as possible so you can move on to everything else waiting for you. But the results are worth it, especially for photographs, for special events, for moments when your appearance will be scrutinized more carefully than usual. You have seen photographs of yourself where you applied lipstick with a brush versus photographs where you applied it straight from the tube, and the difference is visible, measurable. The brush application looking sharper, more professional, more like the makeup worn by actresses and models whose faces appear in magazines. Your mother never used a brush, never saw the need for that level of precision, but you are part of a newer generation, one that has access to more tools, more techniques, more information about how to achieve perfection. You read beauty magazines religiously, studying the tips and tricks they offer, learning from experts who have made careers out of teaching women how to look better, how to correct their features, how to transform themselves into more acceptable versions. The brush goes back into its case, the bristles still faintly stained red from use. You will need to clean it eventually, washing it with gentle soap, rinsing it carefully, laying it flat to dry overnight. But not today. Today it can stay as it is, ready for the next special occasion, the next moment when good enough is not good enough, when only perfect will do. You press your lips together, distributing the color, checking the finish. Your lips are immaculate now, museum quality, the kind of lips that look painted on because they were, because every line, every curve, every gradient of color was intentional, deliberate, crafted by your own hand with a tool designed specifically for this purpose. And as you look at your reflection, at these perfect red lips that required a brush and time and patience to create, you feel a small sense of accomplishment, a quiet pride in having mastered this skill, in being able to paint on beauty with the precision of an artist working on canvas. After everything else, after the foundation and the blush and the lipstick, you dust your face with setting powder. It is translucent, light, almost invisible, but it seals everything in place and keeps the shine at bay for hours. The powder is finer than your regular powder, so fine it is almost like dust, like talc, weightless and insubstantial. It comes in a jar rather than a compact, a wide-mouthed container that you dip a large, fluffy brush into, swirling the bristles through the powder, picking up just enough to coat your face in a thin, barely there layer. This is the final step, the seal that locks in all the work you have done, that prevents your foundation from sliding, your blush from fading, your entire carefully constructed face from breaking down over the course of the day. Without setting powder, your makeup would last a few hours at best, breaking down under the pressure of natural oils, humidity, the simple act of living in your skin. With it, you stand a chance of making it to evening with most of your face still intact. You take the brush, large and soft, and sweep it across your forehead, down your nose, over your cheeks, under your eyes, across your chin. The powder goes on invisibly, no color, no coverage, just a matte finish that dulls any remaining shine, that creates a smooth, even surface that photographs beautifully, that looks polished and perfect in person. The brush is so soft it tickles slightly, raising goosebumps on your neck when you dust powder there, when you extend the matte finish down past your jawline to make sure there is no visible line of demarcation, no place where your made-up face ends and your natural skin begins. Everything must blend seamlessly, must look like this is simply what you look like, not the result of an hour-long process involving a dozen different products. Some women skip this step, considering it unnecessary, considering their makeup complete after lipstick. But you have learned through trial and error, through photographs that showed your face looking shiny and unpolished, through hours spent watching your carefully applied makeup slide off by noon, that setting powder is not optional. It is essential, the difference between makeup that lasts and makeup that fails. The powder has no scent, or almost no scent, just a faint, clean smell that reminds you of baby powder, of innocence, of something pure and wholesome that contrasts sharply with the heavy, perfumed products you have been applying all morning. It is a palate cleanser, a final breath of freshness, before you step away from the mirror and into your day. You tap the brush against the edge of the jar, knocking off excess powder, creating a small cloud that hangs in the air for a moment before dissipating. Then you do one final pass over your face, making sure you have covered everything, making sure there are no spots you missed, no places where shine might break through and betray you. You step back from the mirror and assess your work. Your face is complete now, matte and smooth and flawless, every feature defined, every imperfection covered, every element in its proper place. You look like the woman you are supposed to be, the woman magazines promise you can be if you just buy the right products, follow the right steps, put in the time and effort required. The setting powder goes back on your vanity, lid screwed on tightly to keep the fine powder from spilling, from making a mess, from wasting this expensive product that extends the life of your makeup by hours. You will not need it again until tonight, when you remove all of this and start preparing to do it again tomorrow. But for now, you are set, sealed, finished. Your face will not move, will not change, will stay exactly as it is for the next 8 hours, preserved under a layer of translucent powder that no one can see but everyone would notice if it were not there. You carry 2 lipsticks, always, one in your makeup bag and one in your purse. The emergency lipstick is for touch-ups, for the moments between breakfast and lunch when your lips have faded and must be repainted. You would no more leave the house without it than you would leave without shoes. The emergency lipstick lives in the inner pocket of your purse, tucked beside your compact and your tissues, always within reach, always ready. It is the same shade as your main lipstick, the same brand, purchased at the same time so the color matches exactly. So there is no visible difference between the lipstick you applied this morning and the lipstick you will apply at noon, at 3, at 5, whenever your lips begin to fade and need refreshing. This lipstick is more worn than your main one, used more frequently, applied in less ideal conditions. You have applied this lipstick in car mirrors, in restaurant bathrooms, in the tiny compacts you balance on your lap, in reflective store windows when no other mirror was available. It has been twisted up and down hundreds of times, the tube slightly loose now from repeated use, the mechanism not quite as smooth as it once was. But it works, and that is what matters. When you glance in a mirror and see that your lips have faded to a pale ghost of their former color, when you notice that the lipstick has worn away from the center of your lips where you ate lunch, where you sipped coffee, where you pressed your lips together nervously during a difficult conversation, you reach for this emergency tube and you fix it. The application is quick, practiced, efficient. You do not have time for lip liner, for brushes, for the careful precision you employed this morning. You twist up the lipstick, swipe it across your lips in a few quick strokes. Press your lips together to distribute the color, and you are done. Refreshed, presentable again, ready to face the next few hours. You apply this lipstick so often you barely think about it anymore, the action automatic, muscle memory taking over. Your hand reaches into your purse, finds the tube without looking, brings it to your lips, applies it, returns it to the purse, all while holding a conversation, while walking, while doing something else entirely. It is a skill you have developed through years of practice. the ability to reapply lipstick anywhere, anytime, without disrupting whatever else you are doing. Other women carry emergency lipsticks too. You see them in powder rooms, at stoplights, in the backs of taxis, all of you engaged in the same ritual of maintenance, all of you touching up, refreshing, repainting lips that refuse to stay painted, that fade with every meal, every drink, every kiss, every word spoken. The emergency lipstick is smaller now than it was when you bought it, worn down from constant use, getting close to the point where you will need to replace it, where you will need to buy another tube to serve as your backup, your insurance, your guarantee that you will never be caught in public with faded lips. Because faded lips are unacceptable, a sign of carelessness, of neglect, of not caring enough about your appearance to maintain it throughout the day. Women with faded lipstick look tired, unpolished, like they have given up, like they have stopped trying. And you cannot afford to look like you have stopped trying, cannot afford to let anyone see you as anything less than perfectly put together, perfectly maintained, perfectly red-lipped, from morning until night. So you carry the emergency lipstick, always, everywhere, a small tube of red that weighs almost nothing but means everything, that represents your commitment to maintaining appearances, to never slipping, to always being ready to correct, to refresh, to repaint the face you show the world. By midday, your makeup has settled, faded, shifted. You retreat to the powder room, lock yourself in a stall or stand before the mirror, and begin again. Powder first, then lipstick, then a quick check of your eyebrows. This is not vanity. This is maintenance, the quiet work of keeping up appearances in a world that notices every flaw. You have done this so many times you have lost count. This ritual of checking and correcting, of assessing what has worn away and restoring it, of maintaining the face you presented this morning so it matches the face you will present this afternoon, this evening, for as long as you are in public, for as long as anyone might see you. The powder room is quiet, or as quiet as powder rooms ever are, a space between spaces where women retreat to perform these private acts of maintenance. You are not alone here. There are other women at the mirror, other women opening compacts, applying lipstick, checking their reflections with the same critical eye you turn on yourself. There is no conversation, or very little, just the soft sounds of cosmetics being applied, of brushes on skin, of lipstick tubes being twisted open and closed. You pull out your compact first, opening it to reveal the powder inside, the surface no longer smooth, worn down in the center from repeated use, the powder puff yellowed and compressed. You press the puff into the powder and lift it to your face, patting gently across your nose, your forehead, your chin, all the places where shine has broken through, where your skin's natural oils have overpowered the matte finish you worked so hard to create. The powder settles into the lines around your eyes, into the creases beside your mouth, places where it did not settle this morning, places where your face has moved, expressed, lived throughout the day. You take a clean tissue and dab gently, removing the excess, trying to make the powder look fresh rather than caked, trying to restore the smooth finish without making it obvious that this is your second application, that your morning makeup did not last. Next comes the lipstick, pulled from your purse, twisted up, brought to your lips. You have already blotted it once today, already removed the remnants of breakfast, but now there is lunch to contend with, coffee to account for, the simple erosion that comes from talking, smiling, existing with a mouth that refuses to stay still and keep color on it. You apply the lipstick quickly, efficiently, no time for brushes or liner, just straight from the tube, following the shape you created this morning, filling in the color that has worn away. The lipstick goes on thickly, more opaque than it did this morning when your lips were bare, and you press your lips together, blotting them against each other, trying to even out the color, to make it look freshly applied rather than touched up. Your eyebrows need attention too, the pencil strokes softened, faded, some of them rubbed away entirely from an afternoon of unconsciously touching your face. You pull out your eyebrow pencil and make a few quick strokes, reinforcing the arch, darkening the tail, blending quickly with your fingertip, because you do not have your brush with you, because this is a quick fix, a patch job, not the careful construction you performed this morning. You step back and assess. The makeup is refreshed, restored, good enough to last until evening, until you come home and remove it all and finally let your face rest. You look presentable again, polished again, like someone who has not been working all day, who has not been moving and talking and living in a face full of cosmetics. Other women finish their own touch-ups and leave, their footsteps echoing on the tile floor, the door swinging shut behind them. New women enter, taking their places at the mirror, beginning their own rituals of checking, correcting, refreshing. This is the rhythm of the day for women in 1954, this constant cycle of application and reapplication, of maintenance, performed in stolen moments throughout the day. You snap your compact shut, return your lipstick to your purse, take one final look in the mirror. Your reflection looks back at you, familiar but also strange, a version of yourself that exists only in these carefully maintained moments, a face that requires constant attention, constant work, constant vigilance to preserve. This is not vanity. This is not about loving how you look or taking pride in your appearance, though those feelings sometimes appear. This is about meeting the expectations placed on you, about maintaining the standards that have been set, about doing the work that being a woman in public requires. The world notices when your lipstick fades, when shine appears on your nose, when your eyebrows lose their shape. The world judges, comments, makes assumptions about your character based on the state of your face. So you do this, again and again, throughout the day, throughout your life, checking and correcting and maintaining, keeping up appearances in a world that demands perfection but offers no grace for the effort it requires to achieve it. You smooth your dress, adjust your collar, and step back out into the world, your face freshly repainted, ready to last a few more hours before the cycle begins again. Your compact mirror has seen more of your face than anyone else ever will, catching every expression you would never show in public, every moment of doubt, every flicker of exhaustion you work so hard to hide behind powder and paint. The mirror itself is small, circular, barely 3 inches across, but in that limited space it has witnessed countless private moments. Transformations that happen too quickly for anyone else to notice but are monumental to you. It has seen you first thing in the morning, face bare and vulnerable, skin showing every late night and early worry. It has seen you mid-transformation, foundation half applied, one eye shadowed and the other bare, the asymmetry startling and somehow intimate. This mirror knows your face in ways no other mirror does. Your vanity mirror at home is too far away, too forgiving in its soft morning light. Department store mirrors are too public, too conscious of being watched. But your compact mirror, this small circle of silvered glass, catches you in unguarded moments, in bathroom stalls and parked cars, in quiet corners where you think no one is looking, where you let your face relax into something closer to truth. You flip open the compact and see yourself reflected back, not posed, not prepared, just existing. The afternoon has been long, and your face shows it. The powder has settled into lines you did not know you had, lines that appear only when you are tired, when your face has been holding expressions all day, when you have been performing the role of pleasant, agreeable woman for hours on end. The mirror shows you things you would rather not see, a small breakout forming on your chin, hidden for now under foundation but threatening to emerge. The slight puffiness under your eyes that no amount of powder can fully conceal, the way your lipstick has bled into one tiny line beside your mouth, a crack in the facade that you will need to fix immediately. But the mirror also shows you your competence, your skill at this daily work of transformation. You see the smooth finish of your foundation, applied evenly despite the early hour in your trembling hands. You see the precise arch of your eyebrows, drawn on with a steadiness that comes from years of practice. You see the color on your lips, still bright, still defined, still announcing that you are awake and present and appropriately feminine. This compact has traveled with you everywhere, accumulating small scratches on its outer case, dents from being dropped, tarnish around the edges from being handled with freshly creamed hands. The hinge is loose now, threatening to come apart completely, but you cannot bring yourself to replace it. This compact has been with you through too much, has seen too many versions of your face, has witnessed too many private moments of correction and repair. You remember buying it years ago in a drugstore that smelled like floor wax and possibility. You were 17, newly interested in makeup, newly aware that your face was something that needed managing, needed improving, needed constant attention. Your mother helped you choose it, testing the snap of the lid, checking that the mirror was clear and undistorted, making sure the powder puff was attached securely. She told you then that a good compact would last years if you took care of it, and she was right. The mirror has watched you age, though the changes are small, incremental, easy to miss if you see your face every day. But sometimes you catch yourself at an angle, in a light you were not expecting, and you see what the mirror has been quietly documenting all along. The fine lines, beginning at the corners of your eyes, the slight settling of your face, the way gravity is starting to win small victories, the tiredness that no amount of concealer can fully hide, a tiredness that lives behind your eyes, that comes from years of getting up early to paint on a face, of staying up late to scrub it off. Other women have compacts too, but they are not the same. Some women buy new compacts every few months, chasing the latest design, the newest feature, the compact that promises to be better, more flattering, more luxurious. But you have stayed loyal to this one, this scratched and dented companion that knows your face in all its states, that has never lied to you, never flattered you, never shown you anything but exactly what is there. You angle the mirror to check your teeth, making sure no lipstick has transferred, no lunch remnants are visible. You tilt it down to examine your chin, checking for foundation that has worn away, for powder that has caked. You hold it at arm's length, trying to see your whole face at once, trying to get a sense of how you look to other people, though the mirror is too small, the angle too awkward to ever really succeed. The compact snaps shut with its familiar click, the sound of a small door closing, of privacy restored, of the checking and correcting complete for now. You drop it back into your purse, where it settles among the other tools of maintenance, the lipsticks and tissues and bobby pins, all the small objects that help you hold yourself together, that help you maintain the appearance you have agreed to maintain. This compact will outlast you, probably. It will be found someday in a drawer, in a box of your things, and someone will open it and see the mirror still there, still reflecting, still ready to show whatever face appears before it. They will not know the thousands of times you opened it, the countless moments it witnessed, the private relationship you had with this small circle of glass that knew you better than most people ever would. But for now, it is yours, your companion, your truth-teller, your evidence that behind every polished face is someone checking constantly, correcting constantly, working constantly to maintain an illusion that looks effortless but never is. Some women use stencils to achieve perfectly symmetrical eyebrows, plastic templates that you hold against your forehead while filling in the shape with pencil. They promise foolproof arches, identical brows, the geometric precision that nature never provides, and hands often fail to create. The stencils come in a small package, 3 or 4 different arch shapes meant to suit different face types, different desired looks, different levels of drama. They are made of thin, flexible plastic, transparent so you can see where you are placing them, with cut-out shapes that match the fashionable brow styles of 1954. High arches, dramatic peaks, elegant tapers that promise to transform your face, to lift your features, to make you look more alert, more attractive, more like the drawings in fashion magazines. You have tried using them, standing at your vanity with the stencil pressed against your brow, pencil in hand, attempting to trace the shape perfectly. The theory is sound, foolproof even. Hold the stencil steady, fill in the shape, remove the stencil, and you have a perfect eyebrow. Repeat on the other side, matching the placement exactly, and you have symmetrical brows without the anxiety, without the constant comparing and adjusting and second-guessing that comes with freehand drawing. But in practice, the stencils are more difficult than they promise to be. Getting the placement right is tricky. Holding the stencil at the exact same position on both sides of your face, accounting for the fact that your face is not perfectly symmetrical, that one eye sits slightly higher than the other, that your natural brows do not match. The stencil slides when you try to hold it and draw at the same time, shifting just enough to ruin the shape, to create a brow that is wonky, uneven, obviously drawn on with assistance. And then there is the issue of the stencil shape itself, whether it actually suits your face, whether the high dramatic arch that looks stunning on the model on the package looks ridiculous on you, whether the shape is too severe, too exaggerated, too different from your natural brow for the effect to look anything but artificial. You have watched other women use stencils successfully, seen them create perfect, matching brows with apparent ease, but when you try, something always goes wrong. The pencil catches on the edge of the stencil, creating a thick, dark line where it should be thin and feathered. Or you press too hard, trying to make sure the color shows through, and when you remove the stencil, you are left with a solid block of brown rather than individual hair-like strokes. The stencils live in your makeup drawer now, relegated to the back, behind the products you actually use, behind the tweezers and pencils and brushes that work for you, even if they require more skill, more time, more patience. You keep the stencils because you paid for them, because throwing away beauty products feels wasteful, because some part of you still believes that maybe one day you will figure out how to use them properly, how to make them work the way they are supposed to. Your mother never used stencils, never needed the help. Her hand was steady, her sense of proportion natural, her ability to create matching brows seemingly effortless. She would watch you struggling with the stencils and shake her head gently, not unkindly, and suggest you just practice more with the pencil, that practice would make perfect, that tools were no substitute for skill. And she was right, mostly. You have gotten better at drawing on your brows freehand, better at judging the arch, better at making the two sides match well enough that no one notices the slight differences. But there are still mornings when you wish the stencils worked for you, when you wish you could achieve that perfect symmetry they promise, when you stand at your vanity redrawing your brows for the third time and think about pulling out the stencils, giving them another try. But you never do, because you know how it will end, with frustration and wasted time and brows that look worse than if you had just drawn them freehand. The stencils are like so many other beauty products, promising easy perfection but delivering complicated disappointment, requiring their own kind of skill that you do not possess and may never possess. So they stay in the drawer, gathering dust, a reminder of the gap between beauty industry promises and actual results, between the foolproof techniques advertised and the reality of trying to use them on your own face. In your own bathroom, without professional guidance or natural talent or whatever mysterious quality makes these things work for some women and not for others. The stencils are not for you, and that is fine. You have found your own way, developed your own technique, learned to create brows that are good enough, that are close enough to symmetrical, that pass inspection, even if they would never withstand the scrutiny of a magnifying glass or a professional makeup artist. You make it work, the hard way, the way that requires skill and practice and time, but at least produces results you can control, results that feel earned rather than promised and then denied. Your lips have bled through your lipstick, the color seeping into the fine lines around your mouth, creating tiny red rivers that announce to everyone that your makeup is failing, that you are not as put together as you want to appear, that age and dryness and imperfect application have conspired against you. This is one of your greatest fears, the thing you check for constantly in mirrors, in reflections, in the worried glances of friends who notice but do not say anything. Bleeding lipstick is aging, unforgiving, the kind of beauty failure that cannot be ignored or explained away. It says you are old, that your lips are no longer smooth, that the products meant to beautify you are instead highlighting your flaws. You first notice it in the rearview mirror of your car, stopped at a red light, glancing at yourself and seeing those tiny red lines radiating from your lips like cracks in porcelain. Your heart sinks. How long has it been like this? Who has seen you? How many conversations have you had with these telltale signs of imperfection visible to anyone who looked at you? You reach for a tissue immediately, dabbing at the lines, trying to remove the bled color, but it does not come off easily. Lipstick that has seeped into lines is stubborn, clinging to the small creases, resistant to gentle dabbing. You wet the corner of the tissue with your tongue and try again, scrubbing slightly harder, watching as some of the color lifts, but not all, never all. This problem has gotten worse over the past few years, the lines around your mouth deepening, becoming more pronounced, more eager to catch and hold lipstick. You have tried different lipsticks, hoping to find one that stays put, that does not bleed, that behaves the way lipstick is supposed to. But they all fail eventually, all migrate beyond your lip line, all betray you. The advertisements promise lipsticks that will not bleed, that will stay perfectly in place all day, that will not feather or smear or transfer. You have tried these lipsticks, the new formulas that claim to be different, better, more advanced, and they work, for a while, staying put better than your old lipsticks. But they are also drying, uncomfortable, making your lips feel tight and parched, sucking the moisture from them until they crack and peel. So you are left with an impossible choice: lipsticks that bleed but feel comfortable, or lipsticks that stay put but make your lips feel like they are shriveling, drying out, turning into something brittle and painful. You alternate between them, trying to find a balance, trying to manage the competing demands of appearance and comfort, neither of which will compromise, neither of which will meet you halfway. You have tried using lip liner to create a barrier, drawing a line around your lips that is supposed to contain the lipstick, keep it from wandering, and it helps, somewhat, providing a small dam against the bleeding. But the liner requires precision, requires steady hands and good lighting, and time you do not always have, and even then, it is not foolproof. The lipstick still finds ways to escape, still seeps through in places, still creates those dreaded lines. Other women your age have the same problem. You see it in powder rooms, see them checking their mouths anxiously, dabbing at the lines with tissues, reapplying lipstick only to watch it bleed again within an hour. There is a shared understanding, a mutual recognition that this is one of the small indignities of aging, one of the ways your face betrays you, refuses to cooperate, insists on showing the world that you are no longer young, even when you are trying desperately to hide it. You have considered simply wearing less lipstick, applying it more sparingly, keeping the color lighter, so when it does bleed, it is less noticeable. But pale lipstick makes you look washed out, tired, unfinished, and going without lipstick entirely is not an option, not in 1954 when bare lips suggest illness or depression or simply giving up. So you manage the bleeding as best you can, checking constantly, carrying tissues and remover pads, touching up frequently, trying to catch the problem before it becomes too visible, before too many people notice. It is exhausting, this constant vigilance, this monitoring of your own face for signs of failure. But it is necessary, part of the endless work of maintaining appearances, of pretending that everything is under control, even when it clearly is not. You finish cleaning up the bled lipstick as best you can, reapply carefully, pressing your lips together, checking in the mirror. It looks better now, contained for the moment, though you know it will bleed again, probably within the hour. The cycle will continue. Check and correct, for as long as you insist on wearing lipstick, which is to say for as long as you leave your house. The light turns green and you drive on, your lips freshly painted, your vigilance renewed, your anxiety about bleeding lipstick now added to all the other anxieties you carry about your appearance, about aging, about failing to meet the standards that never lower, never soften, never give you room to be anything less than perfect. The bag that holds all these tools is small, utilitarian, made of vinyl or canvas, zippered shut to keep everything contained, to prevent the inevitable chaos that comes from carrying a dozen small objects in your purse without organization or separation. Your makeup bag is pale pink, or was pale pink once, now faded to a dusty rose, stained in places from spilled powder, leaked foundation, a lipstick that came uncapped and smeared across the lining. The zipper sticks sometimes, requiring gentle coaxing to open, pulling carefully to avoid breaking the delicate mechanism that holds everything together. Inside, the bag is organized according to frequency of use and urgency. The compact lives near the top, easily accessible for quick checks and touch-ups. The lipstick and emergency lipstick sit side by side, ready to be grabbed without looking. The tweezers and bobby pins live in a small interior pocket, contained so they do not scratch other items, so their sharp edges stay safely tucked away. The bag has traveled everywhere with you, in your purse on daily errands, in your suitcase on trips, in your coat pocket on evenings out. It has been opened in bathrooms across the city, on park benches, in parked cars, in department store powder rooms, in the homes of friends. It has witnessed every touch-up, every correction, every moment of panic when you realized your makeup was failing and needed immediate repair. The outside of the bag shows its history, a small tear near the bottom corner where it caught on something sharp, a stain from setting it down on a wet bathroom counter. The worn edges where your fingers have gripped it thousands of times, pulling it from your purse, unzipping it, reaching inside for whichever tool you need in that moment. Other women have makeup bags too. You see them pulled out in powder rooms, each one slightly different, each one reflecting its owner's choices and priorities. Some women have larger bags, stuffed with products, with backups and alternatives and options for every situation. Others have smaller bags, minimalist approaches with just the bare essentials, suggesting either confidence or resignation, either comfort with their faces or acceptance that more products will not help. Your bag is medium-sized, practical, holding everything you truly need without being so large it becomes burdensome. You have edited its contents over the years, removing products that did not work, adding new ones that solved specific problems, constantly refining what you carry based on what you actually use, what actually helps, what actually makes a difference in your daily battle to maintain appearances. The bag itself is wearing out, you can see that. The fabric is thinning in places, the zipper is becoming less reliable, the shape is losing its structure, collapsing more easily, no longer holding its form when empty. You will need to replace it eventually, to find a new bag and transfer all these items, to break in a new organization system, to adjust to slightly different dimensions and compartments. But not yet. This bag still works, still serves its purpose, still holds everything you need. And there is something comforting about using the same bag, about knowing exactly where everything is, about reaching in without looking and finding the compact right where it always is, about the familiarity of this small pink container that holds the tools of your daily transformation. The makeup bag is not glamorous. It does not appear in advertisements, does not get featured in beauty magazines, does not carry any aspirational quality. It is purely functional, purely practical, a workhorse rather than a showpiece. But it is essential, the container that makes portability possible, that allows you to carry your maintenance tools with you, that ensures you are never caught unprepared, never unable to fix a problem, never forced to endure a smudge or a fade or a shine without the means to correct it. You zip the bag closed and drop it back into your purse, feeling its familiar weight settle among your other belongings. It will come out again in a few hours, will be opened again, will provide access to whatever tool you need in that moment. This is its purpose, its entire reason for existing, to be there when you need it, to hold and organize and protect the small objects that help you hold yourself together, that help you face the world with the painted, polished face the world expects to see. And so the compact snaps shut one last time. The lipstick is capped. The powder puff settles back into its tin. Another day of painted faces and careful maintenance comes to its quiet end. You have spent this time with us, walking through the contents of a 1950s makeup bag, touching each small tool, understanding each careful ritual, feeling the weight of what it meant to be a woman whose face was never quite finished, never quite her own, always requiring one more check, one more touch-up, one more correction before she could be seen. It is strange, is it not? How much work went into looking effortless? How many small instruments of transformation a woman carried with her everywhere she went? How the simple act of having a face required an entire arsenal of products, each one promising to fix something, to enhance something, to make you more acceptable, more beautiful, more worthy of being looked at. These women, your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers, the women in faded photographs with their perfect red lips and arched eyebrows and flawless skin, They were not born looking that way. They built those faces every single morning, stroke by stroke, layer by layer, with steady hands and practiced precision, and the quiet understanding that this was simply what being a woman required. There was no opting out, no casual days, no letting your natural face show and calling it self-love or authenticity. There was only the compact and the lipstick and the constant vigilance, the endless checking and correcting and maintaining, the performance that never ended as long as you were visible, as long as anyone might see you. And yet, for all the constraint, for all the pressure, for all the exhausting work of it, there was also something tender in these rituals. The way a mother taught her daughter to apply lipstick, passing down not just technique but a kind of intimacy, a shared language of femininity. The way women helped each other in powder rooms, offering a tissue, pointing out a smudge, fixing a friend's hair with gentle hands. The way the vanity table became a sacred space, a few minutes each morning and evening that belonged entirely to you, where you could sit in silence and tend to yourself, even if that tending was in service of someone else's expectations. These makeup bags tell stories. Stories of women who woke up early to paint on confidence before facing a world that judged them constantly. Stories of mothers who touched up their lipstick between diaper changes and dinner preparations, who maintained appearances even when everything else was falling apart. Stories of daughters learning that their natural faces were not quite good enough, that beauty required work and money and constant attention, but learning also that they were capable of that work, skilled at transformation, able to create something polished and perfect even when they felt neither. The makeup bags are mostly gone now, the 1950s, compacts and lipstick tubes scattered to estate sales and antique shops, the powders dried up, the mirrors tarnished, the carefully maintained collections disassembled and forgotten. But the rituals persist, evolved but recognizable. The same essential work done with different tools, the same pressure to be beautiful wrapped in slightly different language. Perhaps that is what makes these objects so compelling, so worth examining, so worth remembering. They are evidence of labor that was supposed to look effortless, proof of work that was meant to be invisible, artifacts of a particular kind of femininity that demanded everything and offered little in return except the temporary satisfaction of meeting an impossible standard. So tonight, as you settle into your own bed, in your own time, with your own face bare or made up according to your own choices, consider the women who came before, the ones who had no choice, the ones who carried their transformation tools everywhere, who never let their guard down, who performed beauty as survival, as duty, as the price of being seen. Think of them sitting at their vanities in the soft morning light, hands steady, building their faces with the precision of architects and the resignation of soldiers preparing for battle. Think of them checking their compacts at midday, touching up in restaurant bathrooms, maintaining the illusion through sheer determined effort. Think of them at night, finally alone, finally removing the layers, finally allowed to be just themselves for a few hours before starting over. They were tired, they were skilled, they were doing what was expected of them with whatever grace and competence they could muster. And they left behind these small objects, these compacts and lipsticks and powder puffs, as evidence that they were here, that they worked, that they transformed themselves daily into something acceptable, something beautiful, something worthy of taking up space in the world. The makeup bag is closed now, the vanity is dark, the rituals are complete, but the memory lingers of what it meant to carry beauty with you, to build it fresh each morning, to maintain it through vigilance and skill and sheer exhausted determination. And maybe that is enough, to remember, to honor, to understand that every polished face in every old photograph represents hours of work, countless small decisions, an entire infrastructure of maintenance that made effortless beauty possible. Rest easy tonight. Your face is your own, your time is your own, and if you choose to paint on a different version tomorrow, or if you choose not to, that choice itself is a luxury, a freedom, a gift that the women in those old photographs could barely imagine. Thank you for spending this time here, in this quiet corner where nostalgia and truth sit together, where we can look at the past with both appreciation and clear eyes, where we can honor the work without romanticizing the burden. Sleep well, and may your dreams be gentler than the expectations ever were. Good night.